Hi, this is Brian David Marshall from MagicTheGathering.com. I'm here in the tournament center, and we're doing something a little different this week for the week that was. We're doing a video pregame show for Pro Tour Valencia. We're in Valencia, Spain, with hundreds of the world's most famous Magic players, hundreds of hopeful Magic players in the LCQ, and a wide-open extended format before us this weekend as we head into the fourth and final Pro Tour before Worlds to end the 2007 season. There are 280 players playing Standard right now for the last couple of invitations to firm up the field for the event. And we caught up with, well, Bill Stark is normally one of our coverage reporters for the last few events, but he went and qualified for this Pro Tour at Grand Prix Columbus, and he's been hanging out in Valencia, and he's given us a little heads up as to what it's been like spending time here in Spain. This is a little bit different from your last couple Pro Tour experiences. What's going on here?
Well, this weekend I accidentally managed to qualify, so I'll be on this side of the camera, the pen, so to speak, competing, I guess, instead of covering the event and watching, bringing the stories for everyone else. Be making some stories this weekend, hopefully.
Hopefully. I mean, we'd like to see a little bit of a repeat from your Grand Prix Columbus experience, right?
Yeah, I think so. The format seems a lot more open, and a Grand Prix, in regards to skill level, is just drastically different compared to a Pro Tour. But, you know, it would be absolutely wonderful to make the top 8 at this event, yeah.
You've already made the most of this event. You got out here a little early with some friends. Why don't you tell us about Valencia and what you've been doing with yourself?
Sure. We got in Monday, so that would have been about 4 or 5 days ago with Zach Hill, who writes for Star City, and then Marine Lebert and Fried Mulders. Fried, of course, is the Belgian national champion, and Marine had a top 8 at Geneva earlier this year. And then Erwin Tormos, who had a top 8 at Geneva and top 8 in LA. We spent the week just touring the town, playing cards, enjoying the nightlife. Spain's beautiful up until today when it started raining.
That's my fault. I bring the rain.
So, you know, we got to experience the city. It's a very special week this week in Valencia. That's why everything's so busy. They have a national holiday. There's a huge parade right outside the hostel we were staying at. Got to see the fireworks. Got to intermingle with actually some Italian players who came up to grind last night. We were up late testing our decks, and we're like, these guys came in and they're watching and pointing and talking in Italian, and we're scooping everything up. I'm like, we can't let them see. And they're like, no, we're just grinding. So we, you know, stayed up all night, couldn't speak languages, but we kind of just got there by traveling together and played until, you know, much too late in the morning for having to get up early. So it's been a really amazing weekend. I speak a little bit of Spanish. I studied it in college, so I was able to, you know, sort of get a better experience, and I think help out a little bit with the guys when we're ordering food, and it's just been really amazing. Speaking
of food, now we got a little advanced scouting report from you about some fabled Kobe beef of ham. Mm-hmm. What's the story here?
Well, apparently in Spain, they're very big on pork. And, of course, the Kobe beef is from Japan, very expensive. And at tournaments like this, they sometimes give certificates away.
Very expensive and very delicious, yes. We should point out.
I grew up on a farm in a small town in Iowa where we raised hogs. And so, you know, hogs are an Iowa thing. And I read an article saying that in Spain specifically, they have some pork that is so expensive it costs, you know, 100 euros a pound, which is like $1 million. And so, you know, I came here, I was hoping to be able to find it. I haven't been able to yet. But apparently the reason it's so expensive is because the feed that they give the animals is acorns their entire lives. And it makes for very, like, oily, pure pork taste instead of what you kind of get with corn-fed pork from home. So I hope my parents don't find out I said that, but I'm kind of excited to try to get a look at it. So
yeah, we're going to definitely try to find some tonight. I think you're going to get some rest, hopefully, and give us some good results. And hopefully, we won't see you do a word of coverage this weekend.
That's what I'm hoping for, even though it's a blast.
All right, good luck, Bill.
Thanks, Brian.
So, as Bill alluded to, this format's wide open. It's what everyone's been talking about. People have been talking about how wide open the format is, and whether or not people are going to be playing Dredge. It looks like, I've heard people say there are as many as 20 different archetypes viable. I've seen Dredge, Affinity, Goblins, Enduring Ideal, Gaia's might get there, Boros, Flow, Aggro Flow, Loam, Rock, Teps, Tings, Tron, Blue, Black, White. It goes on and on and on and on. People are trying to figure out their decks. One of the great metagame analyzers today is Frank Karsten. You guys have seen him every week up until recently in the Magic Online column here at MagicTheGathering.com. Frank still keeps a really close eye on the PEs to see what people are playing, and he's been doing that in preparation for this event. And I sat down with him to just get an idea of what the metagame looks like and what the decisions facing a pro for this tournament are. So let's cut to my discussion with Frank Karsten, the fanatic. So Frank, the readers here at MagicTheGathering.com already miss you. They already miss your metagame analysis. Have you been keeping up on Extended, watching the PEs like you were when you were doing your column?
Yeah, I still watched all the PEs, like pretty much all of them. So I know what people have been playing online.
So tell us.
Well, like it's a lot of decks. It's probably easiest if I break it down in like a couple major things, like combo, aggro, and control. Like for aggro, like the most played decks were probably goblins, affinity, and like some like red deck with Curd Ape and Incinerate, that kind of stuff. For the combo decks, you have like Dredge. That's the dark horse of the format. Enduring Ideal and Mind's Desire combo. And for the control decks, you have not so many actually in comparison to the other categories. Mostly like a counterbalance deck with Tarmogoyf and like counter spells, that kind of thing. And Gibbs Rock was also played a bit. And then like a couple of other decks, I guess. But like the big thing about the format is the Dredge deck. It's really, really good. It's definitely the best deck of the format. Unless people are picking like 4 Leyline of the Void in their sideboards or more. Like actually 4 Leyline and nothing else is not good enough. But if they want to hate out the deck, they can do it. The thing is, like, are people going to do it? Are people going to play Dredge?
Can they afford, in such a wide open format, with so many decks, I've heard people say that there's as many as 16 viable archetypes within the 3 categories you named. Can people afford to dedicate more than a third of their sideboard to Dredge?
If they expect a lot of Dredge decks, then yes. But the thing is, are people going to play Dredge? Yeah, I would personally expect still a lot of Dredge decks, and then in that case, I think you can afford to to play a lot of sideboard cards against it. But maybe I'm wrong. I just don't know. And like based on that, I still haven't really made up my mind on what I'm going to play. I'm still like walking around the venue to get a feel for like how many Dredge decks are being played, how many ley lines do people have in their sideboards, and then I'm just not sure yet.
Are there any players from the PEs that you think we should be keeping an eye on who might be making a big breakthrough here? I know Manuel Butcher is someone who he's just won a ton of PEs recently. Is that someone, or is there anyone else that you think maybe people who are following the event this weekend should be looking out for, just based on online results?
Like for most of the people online, I don't know who they are in real life. Like there's just some nickname, and then I don't know who the real name behind it is. Nothing in particular springs to mind. No. I can tell you a random other fact, which may be interesting. That but don't tell anyone. The Enduring Ideal deck had the best win percentages in all the PEs, based on all the rounds. But then again, I also heard at the dealer stand that Cameo of Ancient Law was sold out, so people are expecting that deck too. Like it's such a strange format. There are so many incredibly powerful decks, but every single deck is also really easily hated out. And then you just have to like find your niche deck, like the deck that no one is having hate against. Yeah, that's the whole challenge of the tournament. The player who can read the metagame perfectly, maybe by chance, maybe by like talking to everyone, then he'll do well. But
well, you have maybe 12 whole hours to find your niche. Good luck.
Thank you.
It's a crazy format. We know that. Dredge, is that going to be the deck? Are people going to have enough hate? Is there going to be another Pierre Canali-like run to a Pro Tour trophy because people ease up on the pedal in the race to beat Dredge? We'll see. But in the meantime, we're going to be back with part 2 of the pregame show. We're going to talk to a couple different players who are preparing for the event, find out what the teams have been like, talk about the Player of the Year race, and just get a sense of what stories you should be watching for throughout the weekend here at the Tournament Center.